Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Yo, 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 what up, what up? Microphone looks to be good, right? Let me do the volume down a little bit. Alright, we're cooking. Yo, what up, guys? We're back. This time with better internet. Last time my internet was absolutely cooked. I got a Wi-Fi repeater now, so we have like booming internet. So this time we don't have to cut it off early. You guys are here, make sure to type something in the chat, man. How are you doing today? What's up, Xscript? Jared, what's good, man? A while ago, FX, thank you, sir. I love you too for joining in. So yeah, basically NFP is tomorrow, right? We ran major buy side liquidity on DXY right here. Doesn't mean we're gonna go bearish. But I'm tempering my expectations, so I'm sitting still, but I still expect price to run higher, obviously. Daily does not indicate any lower prices, neither does the 4 hour. Because we're still respecting the most recent discount of the range, right? They always want to use these discounts levels. And only if there's a second range formed for bearishness, then you can have a higher probability bias for lower, right? So if you guys stick to that, that is something that will increase your win rate a lot. I call that the double dealing range as well. So I've been using that for a while. It's literally this. It is super simple, but if you just leave this first range, you don't have to trade this first range if you're expecting a reversal, but wait for that second range to form, right? And ideally, when that second range forms, it runs a short-term high as well, right? So let's say this high over here, right? Let's say it does something like this, runs that high, and then starts to drop. Now you have an entire new range to work with, and this is where you find the highest probability trade for lower, right? So as long as this is not formed, you need to remain bullish, right? There's no indication, right? This can just simply be a retracement back to discount or another continuation push up. Be honest with me, how many of you guys get caught in early sells because you think it's going down because it ran a high, right? And you think, oh, we have a CSDOB or whatever, right? How many times do you get caught in trying to predict a high over range, right? Don't do that, right? If you go to the day, the weekly or the daily, is this bearish order flow? No, right? Could we have a retracement back to discount? That is possible, right? For the daily time frame. But you really want to have like a 4 hour confirmation. And that's not done by just one move down. What up, Liban, Likato? How are we doing today? No executions this week. Hey, it's Bran. That's fine. That's fine. Totally fine. Yeah. See what I did this week. Yeah, so I did have a small trade, but it was on Tuesday, or no, Monday actually. It literally was like a short term. It wasn't even a scalp because it's like 50 pips, but it was from this high to this low, and that's all it was. I only took it on one account as well, so it's definitely not full risk or anything like that. But the rest of the week I'm not doing anything. Let's look at NASDAQ, what we have over here. Remove this. So we ran these equal highs, right, on NASDAQ. What are you guys expecting today for NASDAQ? Are you guys looking for anything the day before NFP? I would not personally do that, but time frame alignment model in UJ. Okay, let me check that out. Let me check that out. So we have a clear bullish order flow, daily key level, 4 hour. There isn't really a key level here. We do have a balanced range, right? A redelivered rebalanced area here. So you could technically use this as a rejection level from discount. And then we have these lows here. Right? The only thing I don't like is that this high, which is connected to the low that already got ran, right? Let's see here. This could be a continuation. I mean, if you could use that as a continuation sequence. You could use the IFG here and then 15-minute low. So you technically have two. You have a 4-hour to 1 hour, which is what I outlined earlier here, but there's no clear PD array for me, so I probably would not take that. And then you have the 1 hour IFG and 15-minute lows in discount here, which got tagged here. Just barely. I think, yeah, that's pretty valid. I think that's okay. Blow an account, the Fibonacci swings, that's not good. How did you blow it? Over leverage, over trading. Hold on. Getting a message, okay. What's up with US oil? Well, we've got a war between the United States and Iran, and Iran basically has this little piece of water on the map, right? The Strait of Hormuz, I think it's called. There's basically 20% of the world's oil goes through that little area, and they shut it down. So you can only imagine what happens with oil prices, right? It will blow up. Because what if all of a sudden 20% of the world's oil is not available or not being transported? There will be scarcity, right? And obviously the price will rise. So this is where the war started. Hopefully you watch a little bit of news of what's going on in the world if you're trading. Because if you're not aware that there's a war in between Iran, Israel, and the United States, you need to be aware of this, especially when you're trading. It impacts everything: the dollar, it impacts oil, impacts gold, right? Everything. Higher for NASDAQ, market maker buy model in play, retain. This daily time frame looks absolutely like ass. You guys know I'm an indices hater, right? But yeah, we just ran these highs, these equal highs here, all the way back into premium. So on the minimum, I would not look for any buy setups here. If you were a buyer, I would wait for discount of the 4-hour range to get hit first, right? So if anything. Right? If anything, it should run lower first if you are looking for a higher. Because buying up here, all the way up in premium after previous daily high got run as well. Kind of dangerous. Kind of dangerous. Right? We don't want to do that. I would even be more happy if it runs this low, right? Because this low is attached to the high here, right? Yeah, I would not be a buyer here. Even if it goes higher, there's always a possibility it goes higher from here, of course. But if you look at the technicality of premium and discount and where you are in the range, I would never be a buyer up here. Right, that's dangerous. So dangerous. Euro is something I'm not gonna touch before NFP, right? After this massive run, look at it. We're just stuck in a range. There's no trading here, right? This is currently what's going on. We're literally in a box going sideways, right? So if you're looking for anything here, I personally would not, right? If anything, after an inside bar on the daily time frame, you kind of want to see previous daily high run before you go lower. That's ideal, right? But yeah, we'll just let this fly by. We're gonna watch NASDAQ this stream, I think. I think that's something that can actually move. My battery cam is... Oh my god, my battery... Okay, hold on. Let me... let me change the battery. What the fuck? I did a new battery. Hopefully it works. Hopefully that battery is not empty. Oh. Yeah, should be good. Thanks for notifying. Whoops. Camera down, camera down. Okay, we're back. We're back. Bitcoin longs, Harry? Let's see. I mean, maybe for a retracement. I still think Bitcoin's probably gonna die, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it's likely that it will go higher all the way back to premium. So if you're looking for longs, then the target obviously is this imbalance here. So short term, I would agree, Harry, yeah. Short term into the gap. S&T with Dow at the low, so we can go higher at the open. Yeah, let's see what happens, right? Let's see. Let's say pre-open, we're already in discount. Yes, then the open can fly up, but if we are here at the open, you would definitely want to see your price go lower. At least into discount, right? Hey, that's just my opinion, right? That's just my opinion. How long have I've been trading? I've been, I would say, seriously trading since 2021, but I started in 2019. So it was a while ago, 7 years ago already. Welcome, Mentor Tom. What up? I can't read your name, but welcome. You are welcome. Trade recap, please. What trade recap? Akdas, tell me. Bro, what's up with this battery of my camera, man? I think the both of the batteries are dead. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Bro, I just changed the battery of the camera. Like, and I changed it with an empty battery again. Okay, we're cooked. We're absolutely cooked on the camera situation. Time to remove the camera. Just plug it into power. Wait, that's actually big brain. Can I do that? No, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that. No, Yank, no. Nothing. Just a short term. Here's the euro, right? The euro short. It was literally this breaker here. I don't think I even got a 2R out of it. I think it was 1.5. Oh no, I did actually, yeah. Yeah, it was something like this. That's literally it. Well, you're an extreme bearish order flow. Right? Just close eyes and press sell. But we have ran the sell side, so there's no more pressing here, right? This is gone. If this was intact today, there was still an opportunity to look for more shorts, but I'm not gonna touch that. Yeah, let me remove the camera from OBS. Right. Yeah. We blame the market makers for destroying the battery. Do you prefer marking out the dealing range on NASDAQ 4 hour or 50 minute? If you had to choose, sometimes I end up using both and I get confused. So in the case of NASDAQ, right? You have to think about, this is very important, right? If you run external, there's a very high chance it can go back to external, right? So if we use this 4 hour range here, this is the last swing low to high, right? We already ran all these highs here. We already went back into premium. And the important part is we went above these highs here, which is external. So ideally you see a retracement back to discount into an internal area. Especially because we already ran previous daily high. The easiest draw on liquidity every single day is previous daily high or previous daily low. That's what you target for almost every single day, right? Now, if this was still intact, it's not necessarily required to go back to discount. And it can just run a low and then continue, right? So like run this low and then continue straight up. Because then you would use this range, right? And then you hit discount. But because we already ran the highs and we have a 4 hour swing high formed here, and we have a failure swing here as well, it's very likely that it can go back to discount, right? So even if it runs higher and does not go to discount, the likelihood of it will is, in my opinion, way higher than not, right? So that's when you use a 4H, right? So write that down, right? If external has been taken already and previous daily high, your easy draw on liquidity, you want to see at least a good discount level on the 4 hour. This is extremely important. Where's the music? There we go. Little bounce music. Right, that's why I said I think it's gonna drop in discount before anything happens. We have to open in 25 minutes, so yeah, we'll see what it does. Which green candle color do you use? Believe it or not, it's literally green, this one. Like the 4th green in the row of greens. That's it. Please do analysis on gold. Sniper nest. Let's see. Let's see what they got over here. So monthly time frame. Oh yeah, we gapped up, of course, because we had the war during the weekend, right? Which is this one. This is the gap up here on the weekly. We ran both sides of previous weekly time frame. We already filled in the volume imbalance. The daily went back into discount of the most recent range, right? Which is this one. So what would you expect here? After an inside bar and we have NFP tomorrow. Honestly, what I would expect is this to go sideways for the rest of the day until NFP release. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want, what I would look for here. I would still say higher, but I can make a case for both sides, honestly. So I can make a case for sell side of the curve here. But if I look at the daily, this can still go higher, right? But we have this fair value gap above us, which could reject. So I would sideline this. So there's no clear direction here. I can make a case for both sides, right? And when I make a case for both sides, I don't touch it. What happened here, by the way? Oh, this was unemployment claims, right? Yeah. So this was a news release scandal. No, that was not a news release. That's 15 minutes before the news release. Okay, interesting. So they did a big move before the news. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Took a quick EU buy during London session. Hope you bought below this low. I'm not gonna lie. I would highly prefer if we send it higher today and with NFP, right? Because I wanna keep selling, but we're way fucking deep in discount here after running a low, right? So ideally I want to go here and then sell it again, right? If you're trading a weekly expansion, that would be the most ideal scenario. We have a weekly IFAG if we close like this, right? So next week, open, high, low, close. You guys were here in the stream on Tuesday, right? Where I said DXY was... Where was it? Go to DXY. Yeah, DXY closed like this. We talked about this fair value gap, right? And then eventually running out this high, right? And that happened, I mean, within the same day, actually. But then your target is hit, right? So what you're gonna do? You're gonna wait for information. I do highly appreciate if we do run higher. But every bearish array is still respected, so you cannot... It's very dangerous to be a buyer on majors, right? Put one trade from a 4-hour retracement you described in the form of a 5-minute, 50-minute market maker sell model. If time and price meets, ticks the boxes for lower prices. I mean, you could trade a retracement, yeah, but if you trade a retracement, I would always do like a half risk. Oh yeah, I was looking at this early in the week, right? This was on Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah. I don't know if we talked about this on stream. Oh, I streamed Monday, not on Tuesday. I talked about this in the Discord stream. But within the IFAG, this 4-hour per value gap. Because the daily key levels line up pretty nicely, right? We have this daily key level. And I would highly like if this runs higher. But yeah, look at this is GJ hair comb model, right? Does a hair comb have all these like fucking things? I don't know because I don't have hair, obviously. But that's what it looks like. And I think if we inverse this, it's really ready to run higher. We accumulated below weekly opening price for the past 3 days right now, right? So yeah, I'm still expecting this. Should be good. It's called pull a fib forehead. Yes, yes. Well, I'm not a swing trader per se, but yeah, if you pull a fib like this, yeah, you're in discount here, but you have to sit through all this consolidation. Look, yeah, I saw your entry on Discord. You nasty, nasty man. So Victor Murimi? Victor Murimi. Yeah, I would like to see that as well, because you actually have a purge here and then SMT on a low risk buy, right? So this is the next range. It runs the lows, and if it runs higher from here, the probabilities of running towards this high is extremely high, in my opinion. You took a short on USDCAD Tuesday on the 1-hour breaker. Can you review it? Yeah, let's see what you did. Okay, so USDCAD in line with DXY running highs, right? Let's look at DXY ran all this, right? You look at DXY. We ran all these highs here, and USDCAD only ran this high, not even close towards these highs here. Now, why is that? Right? Okay, let's see if you guys in the chat know what correlates. What correlates with Canadian dollar? Who knows? Oil, yes, exactly. So oil is connected to Canadian dollar, right? Export product #1 in Canada. We have a war. Oil prices are absolutely out of control, booming upwards, right? Which means Canadian dollar gains a lot more strength, which in turn USDCAD is more likely to turn bearish, right? And you see the difference in GCAD and ECAD as well. Look at that. Because the dollar is very strong right now, right? Because we had that insane run up. But what is inverse to the dollar is the euro, right? So if you want to trade a CAD pair, you would have traded euro CAD, which has accumulated for fucking ages, by the way. 25 days of accumulation. I actually called this high on the 27th of January in the Discord. We were looking for shorts for a market maker sell model. I still got it on my chart as well here. Literally perfect in the gap. EuroCAD the same thing here, looking for shorts. I got run out. It's still on my Twitter, I think, or one of my breakdowns in Discord. Yeah, pretty sure. So I shorted this CSDOB here, but then overnight it ran fucking insanely. In 3-4 minutes or something, it ran like 80 pips up and then it declined, right? So that was kind of unfortunate, but that happens in trading sometimes. Can't catch them all. Okay, let's look at NASDAQ. Still declining, right? The open in like 17 minutes. I missed a short trade you recapped about 10 minutes ago. Could you go over that again quickly? Yeah. Yeah, you have extreme... Where are we? Over here. Wait, grab a different chart. So you have extreme bearish order flow, right? We have accumulated a lot here. And then we expand. Small retracement. You can't trade this here. You wait for confirmation on the lower time frame, right? So I basically just took a 15-minute OB, or breaker rather. Right, so when you can see that over here, right? When the new, what time is it? New 4-hour candle up, then it breaks down lower, right? And then you are at 7 p.m. ish, 6 p.m. You just take this, right? This breaker here. That's literally the setup. And obviously have risk, because ain't no way I'm doing full risk after they already expanded that far, right? Why didn't I wait for premium on this one? A very, very good question. It did. This is the last swing high, right? Fractalized dealing range. So this hit premium. Ran a high and then broke below, right? So you have a breaker. If this did not hit premium of the most recent 15-minute range, and I'm using a 15-minute range here, right? Because look at the 4-hour. It's in an expansion phase, so it's very unlikely that after this candle here, that the next candle is going to be a retracement all the way up here, right? Because we're in an expansion phase. So you're going to have an open high, low close, and not a rate on a previous 4-hour high, right? That's how you fractalize your dealing range. If you're not aware of when to use a 15-minute range or a 4-hour range, think about the market cycles, right? The market cycles are extremely important. You're in a bullish or bearish market cycle. On the 4-hour, there will be 15-minute retracements and continuations, right? You can fractalize it. You traded Asian? No, this is New York. Between New York and London. And we're gonna watch NASDAQ in like 14 minutes. Let me just quickly go to the toilet. Right. And see if my battery has recharged enough so I can put the cam on again. Alright, be right back. Oh, we back. Alright, alright. Hallelujah. Why has double dealing range failed in DXY on the daily time frame? Let's see. Where? Do you mean... Wait, do you mean this? And then this one? Is that what you mean? That's not a double dealing range. So I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Give me the date so we can investigate. Can we go long on gold? I mean, I cannot tell you what to do, but like if you were early in a stream earlier, I can literally frame a buy and a sell setup here. So you can do whatever you want, but I can find a setup on both ways, and if I can find a setup on both ways, I don't touch it at all. It's dangerous, trust me. We'll watch NASDAQ. It's gonna be open in 9 minutes, so expecting price to run down into discount on the minimum, and then we'll see what happens. My view on USDCHF. I mean, it's basically DXY, right? So with tomorrow we have NFP. If I would want to trade anything, I would want to be a buyer in discount again. So where it is situated right now, and this is basically with all the major pairs as well, you have to wait for some either discount level if you want to buy again, or you wait for another expansion leg and then use that range, right? Because we ran massive ranges already, right? And don't forget that happened already this week. And I know everybody hates waiting, right? And waiting for information, but it's literally what makes you profitable in the end. Okay, let's see what they do. Like 8 minutes with the open. We would be dropping below midnight opening as well. Which background color do you use? Oh, I don't know, man. Let me see. I think just white or no? Yeah, it's all Fs. F in the chat. Just white. You thought of an AMD in gold? What time frame are you watching? I don't like the cycle for lower, because you have an expansion into a reversal and then a consolidation, right? So going higher is still something that can happen here, right? What are you thinking about EU right now? Nothing at all. I won't let it slide. Look, you have an inside bar yesterday. You have massive sell side liquidity being run, right, on Tuesday. We have NFP tomorrow. So 100% the best bet is just not even try to predict what's going to happen. We are in heavy bearish order flow, so buying this is extremely dangerous. Shorting it, I mean, it's kind of possible, but it's low quality. It's like a C tier setup on the minimum. I don't think it looks good to trade, honestly. We'll see what the NFP does. I mean, maybe today it even moves, but I don't really think so. I don't think that will happen. The only thing we're watching is the NASDAQ dropping with the open. That's very likely in my opinion. At least until the green line here. Weekly dealing range on DXY is bearish, right? So on the daily I thought you'd be looking for sells. What shows you that you should have looking for longs now? Good question, because we talked about longs on Monday, right? Up until the highs here. Let's look at the weekly. You would assume that this is the weekly range, right? That's what you're saying, right? But is there a clear sell side target? No, right? Because we took out this low here. So what is present is that it accumulates sell stops below an old low and it seeks to pair it up with buy stops above an old high. Ideally, it uses the same leg it went down from, right? So that is this one. So it's on the way towards this. And I think we'll probably see that in the next couple of weeks. Right? So you need to think about the context, what price is doing. Right? You can't just draw out a range and say it's a bearish range. I can't just draw out this one and say it's a bullish range. Right? Same thing happened here. Right? If you think this is the bullish range, but we ran this high. Right? Low quality for a bullish range. Yes, we bounced a little bit from discount and then we absolutely melted down here, right? So think about the context and narrative before you draw out a range. Have we run any major sell side or buy side liquidity? Right, all that kind of things. Very important. Let's go back to NASDAQ. I want to see what the open does. What time frame do you think is good for execution on NASDAQ? I hate the 1 minute. Jared, that depends, alright? If you are a futures trader, for example, on a prop firm at least, you cannot hold past 4 PM, I think. So you have to close before candle closure, daily candle closure, right? So then you should be looking on like the 5 or 15 minutes, in my opinion. But if you're like me, right, I trade 1 hour time frame most of the time on Forex. If I would do that on NASDAQ, you would need to have a CFD broker, right? You can hold overnight. OTE, I saw your risk management protocols in YouTube videos. Right now I'm in phase 2, but 6% in drawdown. I'm risking half right now. Should I risk 1% or higher? No. If you're in 6% drawdown, either you're not identifying market conditions properly, so it's low probability market conditions, and you're taking good setups, but the conditions are low probability, which makes the setup low probability as well. So your setup might look like a high quality setup, but the market, for example, is in a consolidation profile on a daily or on a 4 hour, right? So that makes it a lot more lackluster to trade towards your targets. No, I would do it like 0.5% and just keep journaling, right? Because at some point the market is going back into an expansion phase on the higher time frame, and that's where you actually find the good setups. Am I right in saying that you used to trade the lower time frames a lot more frequently? Just wondering if you would ever go back to trading the 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute ever again, or you're completely opposed? No, I'm never going back to 1 minute or 5 minutes. Because I find my highest probability setups. I try to trade the weekly range, right? The weekly range, daily range. And I mean the daily expansion or the weekly expansion, right? The open high low close or the open low high close of a candlestick. I find a lot more success in using the 1%. And I don't have the... I don't like trading the lower time for like a 1 minute or 5 minutes because I feel like I have to fractalize too much. And I'm more of a holding it for a longer period. I like that I like doing that more. Oh, we have to open in right now. Let's see what they cook up. Or maybe they will do nothing at all. That's also possible. Do we have some sort of SMT? We already ran that low here. Here as well. Wow. YM is pretty low already. Yeah, let's see what they do. Do you come live every day now on YouTube? No. No, sir. I try to do it once a week. I try to do that. So we can touch up every week, right? How do you determine the best asset to trade between EU and GU? Well, if you're looking at relative strength, you always should have Euro GBP here, right? Determine what kind of order flow this one is. And then determine where DXY, or first you determine DXY, obviously. Let's say DXY is bullish. And you see that Euro GBP is bearish. You wanna short Euro, right? Because this is the weaker asset. Let's say Euro GBP is very bullish. Then the pound is a lot weaker, right? And we'll have a bigger move down if DXY is bullish, right? So try to use that asset to compare relative strength. And you can use Euro GBP for other assets as well, like Euro CAD and GBP CAD, Euro JPY, GBP JPY, right? What are your favorite correlated Forex pairs? I only have EU, GU on my watch list, but I want your suggestion. I would say only EU and GU, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe EuroCAD and GBP CAD. That's maybe you could include that. You could, but still, I would rather sit on my hands than trade another asset. I get emotional when I risk 1% if I'm in drawdown. But then you definitely should not risk 1%, right? Then you should do half a percent until you're like back to like -3, -2, right? Do you trade inside sessions with 1 hour time frame? I don't really care for kill zones, I'm not gonna lie. I missed so many opportunities when I was waiting for the kill zone times. While the setup was extremely valid on the 1 hour, right? So if you trade a 1 hour time frame, you don't need kill zones. That's literally factual. Wasn't the ADR already 100 when you shorted that? I think it was even 120 or 150. But you have to think about the context, right? We have been accumulating for how long? Right? 12 days? What does that do with the average daily range? If an asset is consolidating for 12 days in a row, obviously the ADR, when it hits 100% during a massive expansion, it's gonna look like a small move. And the ADR is 100%. But it's the average daily range of the last 5 days. So if you have 5 days of consolidation before you have one big expansion candle, of course it's going to be way beyond 100%, right? So if you look at the ADR of the last couple of days, this ADR here is 325%, right? Because we were consolidating before. That doesn't mean you can't trade it anymore after 100% ADR has been reached. You need to think about the context in the previous 5 days. Right, so that's important to look at. Learn something new? Yes, sir. I mean, this is the most important part for anything you do in trading is always try to find the right context and narrative when you're using your entry model, right? Because your entry model is a pattern. It's literally a pattern, right? The pattern might be you wait for a run on liquidity, you wait for a market structure shift, and you enter on a breaker. That is a pattern, right? That is literally a pattern. That pattern will occur everywhere on the chart, but it will only work out when you have the higher time frame in your favor, right? And the intermediate term time frame also, right? So you work with the context of these previous two steps and then execute your pattern when it lines up. That's why pattern trading is killing traders. Like I said earlier in the stream as well, if this runs higher from here, I still would never look for a short here. And I'm not a player like that. I wanted to short, but I looked at ADR on Tuesday. Yeah, that could throw you off for sure. For sure. Panned out exactly how I said it earlier. Well, that's good. I mean, it hasn't run the high yet, but like the initial, I don't know if is that your model, right? If when market open is, you instantly click buy or sell. Is that what you do? Is that your model? Because if that is your model, then it's valid, right? I'm not opposed to that at all. I simply just would not. You should always execute what is in line with your data in your journal and your model, right? It's like somebody else has a different model, right? And he finds a setup where you were waiting for confirmation. That doesn't mean that you are a bad trader or that you can't find good setups. It just means your model is different, and the other person has data on his model, and you have data on your model, right? Now the most important part is, did you actually make money on this move, right? Because we can all just say, oh, I knew price was going here, I told you guys the price was going there. But that does not put any fucking money in your wallet, right? So I called this entire DXY move, right, all the way up to the highs on Monday, right? But did I make a big bag out of it? No, I did not, right? Because it was uncatchable for most of the expansion, at least as per my model, right? So we can all be right about where price might go, but if it doesn't put any money in your pocket, it doesn't really fucking matter. Would you short NASDAQ? If so, which range would you use? Alright, I would not short NASDAQ. This order flow is bullish currently. I would not long it either, like I said earlier, because for me it's not in an area where I would want to long. But the daily does not indicate shorts right now, right? You know what the daily time frame indicates? It looks like a pile of barcodes. I'm not gonna lie. I can scan this literally. It's just a piece of barcode here. Salem Ho Ivora. I don't know what that is, but hello. Oh, you're saying it to somebody else. Okay. I see. I don't know what I'm doing, and I just blew my first account and only got 500 drawdown left. I don't over leverage or don't revenge trade or push unnecessary trade, but I don't know what's the problem. Well, in this occasion, the problem is that your model is not working. Right? That's literally, we can't really think about anything else. Like, it's literally the model is not working. Otherwise, you would have passed it. Right? So you need to readjust backtest again, right? Find your edge. And if your edge worked in the backtesting, but it's not working right now, there will be a pattern in your journal where the losing trades will have a common issue, right? That's why journaling is extremely important. And I know for a fact, like 90% of the people don't journal. We're lazy fucks, okay? And if you don't journal, how the hell are you gonna find out what you did wrong in the last 20 trades? You can't remember the trade you took last November on fucking 9 AM, right? That's why you journal. You can't know that. That's why journaling is important. The most boring part of trading. Yet the most essential part. Hey, DXY, for you, bull or bear? For me, it's neutral. We already ran massive sell side. Higher time frame obviously is very bullish, right? So, not that I'm gonna touch it right now, but obviously higher time frame is bullish, so we would expect higher. But where it is situated right now, I can't make out a proper entry. Once there's a new proper range formed, I will look for another setup. What do you think for next week? EU might hit the daily fair value gap and go price lower, or maybe inverse and retrace to the higher side? I can't comment on that right now, you know, because tomorrow is NFP, and we literally have to wait how Friday closes to be able to determine that. But if I'm thinking about if this gap is gonna inverse, it could inverse, yeah. I would prefer if it just hits it and then shows bearish signs. It depends on how the daily looks here and the 4 hour. Right now it's just sideways, right? So we should remain neutral for the foreseeable future until after NFP. This market is buns. Sometimes it do be like that, yeah, that's correct. What are my thoughts on oil? I got stopped out of longs yesterday due to greed. I got long again on the 5-minute IFG out of the 1-hour IFG. I mean, oil is gonna blast up. It has to, macroeconomically wise, because of the war. You traded the 1-hour IFG, so there's this one. So you had a run back into discount pretty low, and then you waited for an IFG, and now you're long. So that's still a valid setup in my opinion. Now you just gotta hope that the daily time frame will be an extended expansion. Well, we have not hit this high yet, so I think it should be still be good, honestly. As long as this high is intact, we can still go there. So I think your oil long is valid, yeah. Sideways right now, EU DXY, yeah. No point in looking at that. Is there a mechanical way to define a range? Does it have to be swept both sides of another range? This was what helped me a lot, right? If I'm looking for buys, right? Make sure to do this, okay? Pay attention to this. So price is going down. We run a low. We reverse. First range. Second range, right? Okay, double dealing range is this. First range has formed, low risk buy is being printed. Second range has formed. This is where the highest probability setup forms. That's what I try to trade. Almost always. Right? This... let me see how I can break it down. Like, easy to understand. The smart money reversal is very important that it hits a key level in discount, right? On a higher time frame. This could be a 1 hour market maker buy model, but we hit a daily key level, right? That could be the case. Right, so that's important. Make sure that the smart money reversal hits a key level. We don't know yet if we're gonna go in the buy side of the curve unless the low risk sell or low risk buy is printed in the market maker model, right? That's why I wait for the second range. Right, and that range will be pretty clear. Now, let's say you're looking for double dealing range for shorts. Let's say on NASDAQ. Let's say you're using this, right? And now you say, oh, we have a new range here, right, for shorts. And this is all relative equal lows, right? So it makes the range lower probability. You really need to see a clear defined range, and what helped me is that the start of the range always has this, right? So if you're bullish, you always have this. Let's make it black. Right, so this is a low that gets run by the candle. And then you start to close above. Right? At the start of the range always has an order block attached to it. And then displacement after. So make sure you have a clearly defined order block after running out a high. That's going to make your start of your range a lot more clear. If you cannot define a proper order block or a rejection block with a low, then the range is probably not as effective. Right, so for example here, if you think this is a bearish range, right, there's no clearly defined order block, no nothing, right? So it's not a range where you would look for shorts, because it's not a range. Most high probability is a retest of a propulsion block. Propulsion blocks are really good, yeah. Definitely. Should I then stop trading on the days before red news, or how to avoid such consolidation days? It's not because it's not consolidating on, for example, on euro because of NFP tomorrow. This shit is consolidating because we had this massive move and we took out a long-term low. That's why it's accumulating right now, not because tomorrow is NFP. The reason is there's so much liquidity being purged that the market needs time to build up more orders, right? It does not help that there is NFP the day after, of course, because that's when the volatility kicks in. So it's like two things that makes it consolidate here. But the main thing that makes it consolidate is the massive sell side run. When would you look at DXY? What's the move you expect before the plan to take a trade? I don't know if I'm hasty or whenever I see a sweep on and a PD array aligned with my view, bull or bear, I enter. I mean, I would agree to look for something when that happens because that's actually a good signature. But then you look at the context, right? Is there a long-term draw already hit during this week? You look at the weekly candle. Look at how fucking massive this weekly candle is, and it ran this low already, right? So even if something happens, the context is not high probability, because we have an inside bar, right? Long-term targets have been hit already. So this weekly candle is done. And it's very likely to consolidate for the rest of the week up until NFP, right? That's when you decide not to enter anything. Which indicator I use for daily separator line? It's a manual. I draw the lines myself. Okay, market looks pretty dead right now. Good thing we caught up. So I'm gonna head out now. I need to do some stuff, some real life stuff. But I would advise you guys just sit out these current conditions, especially if you're trading Forex, and wait for NFP to hit. See how the weekly candle closes, right? We'll try to touch up again next week, right? Maybe on Monday, maybe on Thursday again. I will have to see what my schedule is like next week. Depends on the economic calendar. Thank you all you guys for joining in. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, right? Thank you for joining. I really appreciate if you tune in. And stay safe. I'll get you the next time.